The International Monetary Fund has upgraded its outlook for the global economy in 2021 on the back of a vaccine-powered pickup. But it's warned a resurgence in COVID-19 infections and new variants of the virus still threaten the global economic recovery. The IMF expects the global economy to grow by 5.5% this year and 4.2% in 2022, following last year's contraction. It expects China to lead the recovery with GDP growth of 8.1% due to its early success in containing its COVID-19 outbreak and public investment. The US and Japan are projected to reach pre-pandemic output levels in the second half of this year. But the lender says about 90 million people could fall below the extreme poverty threshold and erase 30 years of progress in fighting it due to weak policy responses and the unequal distribution of vaccines.
There is a great deal of uncertainty around this forecast. If you could have, we could have greater success on vaccinations, especially vaccine rollouts. If there is additional policy support provided, outcomes could improve. But on the other hand, if you could have if there is going to be a slowdown in vaccine rollouts, and if there's a premature withdrawal of policy support alongside a mutating virus, then that could certainly lead to worse outcomes.
Well, for more on this, we're joined by Professor Kerem Alkin, an economist and Dean of Business at Istanbul Medipol University. Welcome to the program, Professor. Now, the IMF has delivered what would seem an uncharacteristically upbeat assessment of the global economy this year, and that's despite what we're seeing right now, including a resurgence of the coronavirus around the world, the development of new mutations of coronavirus. But some may find it hard to believe. Do you accept that perhaps we will see this surge of 5.5% global growth this year?
First of all, I would like to say there are two contradictions on the IMF latest report about Turkey. The first contradiction is, in one hand, IMF asked from all member countries to support their real sectors and economic actors with all kinds of expansionary monetary and fiscal policies. But on the other hand, he criticized Turkey for these steps from the beginning of the pandemic. I would like to ask to IMF what we have to say for Turkish economy succeeded for a positive growth in 2020, even in the pandemic conditions. The second contradiction is, in one hand, IMF remarked that tightening the monetary and the fiscal policy was a good decision from the last October. But on the other hand, if Turkey will continue to tighten the monetary and the fiscal policy, how Turkey can succeed to see a 5.5% or 6% growth rate in 2021? And isn't it a contradiction for IMF, his advice to stimulate the real sector? At the same time, for the last 9 or 10 months, from the IMF governor and also from the IMF papers, we always see the support and the advice for the stimulus of all world economies by the fiscal and monetary policies. But on the other hand, for Turkey, they ask on the report that we have to continue to tightening the fiscal and monetary policy. And economically, if we will continue to tighten monetary and fiscal policy, especially 5.5% growth rate cannot be easy for 2021.
Okay.
So there is a really interesting contradiction on the report. If they say that, they still continue to say that Turkey has to tighten his monetary and fiscal policy for 2021, they have to say that, okay, in these conditions, Turkey's growth rate could be for 2021,
Okay.
maybe 3% or 3.5%.
Okay, Professor, can I ask you very quickly? Last week we saw the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, open its 5th regional office in Istanbul. What benefit will that have on the OECD's aims of furthering the global economic agenda and increasing trade?
Especially, first of all, this is a real, a brilliant decision for OECD, because Istanbul still is one of the most known regional centers for all global institutions and organizations in the world, like IFC or UNDP. So it's a very good choice. Secondly, we have a very remarkable success for the free market economy, and also a very good fight against the corruption. So that's why, if OECD needs to do a very interesting research, and also some international meetings with the non-member countries around the Turkey, like first and second belt countries around the Turkey will be a very pioneer country for all our members, or all our neighbor countries in our region, for the free market, and also fight against the corruption. So that's why Istanbul is a very good choice for OECD, for the symbol of Turkey.
Okay, Professor Kerem Alkin, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much again for joining us on the program.
Have a nice evening.